but there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be
Winter reveals the hidden lie. Moonlight could mask their cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise.
all the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Hello, everybody. How are you this evening? How are you? How are you? Bless you, bless you. Well, if you've not been to our channel before, welcome. My name is Elizabeth, and this is Hillbilly Crime. Sweet Tater's not going to be with us again tonight, but that's all right. We are going to watch the city council meeting for London, Kentucky. If you guys have kind of been up on this one story, it was in London, Kentucky, which isn't too awful far from here, a couple hours from here. A man was unalived. A rogue, I guess I would call it, a rogue task force went in to serve a search warrant for a stolen weed eater. Well, they went into the wrong address, and the man was unalived. And so there has not been hardly any movement on that case. They just said that the Kentucky State Police was investigating, and that was really the last thing I've even heard about that incident. Now, the city council meetings have been very entertaining, to say the least. There have been several resignations lately. So we are going to dig in there and watch this. And y'all, let us know what you think, I guess. All right.
Our attorney.
Oh,
Yes.
sorry. Went a little too far. Got too excited.
We're going to go ahead and call this special call meeting to order if the city clerk will take row.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Hit that like button for us on your way in, everybody.
Chairman, I'd like to do something a little out of order, if I may. And I would like to have our attorney kind of give some direction on the classification of our meeting today, if that's okay.
Okay.
You mind? Thank you. Mind if I come over here so y'all can see?
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bryson. The council has asked me to kind of address the calling of this meeting as a special called meeting. I'm sure you all are aware, this is the third meeting in a row classified as special. My reading of the KRS says that we have to have a monthly regular called meeting. Further, I was kind of looking, and it seems like, I'm assuming it's because of we passed the ordinance, which was vetoed. We then overrode the veto. So can you just give some clarification as to why this meeting is special called versus just a regular meeting? Either one. I'll defer to either one of you all.
Yeah, I can. I explained it, I thought, pretty well at I think it was the last meeting when I did the PowerPoint, but I can do it again. There were problems in the second reading of the ordinance. There was a violation of the open meetings law in that. In the presiding officer that went ahead with the meeting, that meeting was not properly called because 3 members of the council, and you know the statute requires 3 members of the council to ask for the meeting to be called, and that did not occur. We have also asked for an advisory opinion from the Kentucky Attorney General. So we're waiting on that. But at this time, it's not been published. It's not an effective ordinance.
And that brings me to my next question then. Your classification of it being, an illegal meeting, violation of the open meetings, that's strictly based on your opinion at this point, correct?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, did the Attorney General's office give you an idea as to a timeline as to when we get the advisory opinion?
No.
And then I guess I would just point you all, KRS 424-130 sub 1 sub A, it states, in mayor council cities, enactment occurs at the date the mayor approves the ordinance or the date the city council overrides the mayoral veto. So my thought would be, if it was an illegal meeting, in your view, an illegal meeting, improperly called meeting, a violation of the open meetings, then what was the necessity for the veto?
The mayor felt more comfortable. He also, at that time, told the council in writing why he was vetoing it. And those were all a part of his reasons.
Right, and that goes back to the same reasons that you believe that it was a violation of the open meetings.
Those are several of them.
Right.
I didn't know I was going to be addressing that publicly, so.
Well, and we just want some clarification on it because, we're also familiar with the statute that requires the regular monthly meeting, and we haven't done that in 3 months. The council has advised me that's a concern of theirs. They want to ensure that, strict compliance, as I'm sure everyone does. I know you all do as well. So, and that was just the thought that I had on the law that states that it's enacted at the date the council overrides a mayoral veto. So we wanted to address that briefly, and I'm assuming we'll still continue on as a special called meeting, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, guys. Thank y'all for your time.
Thank you.
We're going to do opening with prayer. Ortega, who do we have here tonight for the prayer?
I'll pray myself. Please stand. Dear Lord, thank you for placing us in a community where we could love, serve, and support one another. Teach us to be your hands and feet while offering compassion and kindness to those in need. May our service reflect your heart and draw others to your love. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next thing on the agenda is to approve the minutes from April the 7th and April the 11th meetings. What's council's pleasure?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench.
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
New business, we review and discuss ordinances here tonight. You'll see a list of them. First one is the development ordinance. Josh is also here to answer any questions regarding the development ordinance, which would be 2025-04. This is not a reading. This is any discussion that you guys may have regarding this. Is there anything that the council has questions regarding this ordinance?
Mr. Wilson? I have one question. I've received a lot of calls about this ordinance. To be in 153 pages, I believe, and the number one concern is people are afraid that the city will tell them what kind of grass seed to plant.
No. This ordinance has been in existence for a long period of time. I think it goes back to 17 and 18, but most recently, this is a revision to ordinance number 2022-03. So that's the ordinance that we've been following, the city development ordinance. The new ordinance basically clarifies a lot of the procedural processes as far as planning and zoning, board of adjustments, look to update the fees and bring them to a more current fee schedule. And the new ordinance also references a lot of Kentucky revised statutes that the old ordinance did not reference. I know there's been some misconceptions. There was, I've seen online that people were saying that, we were trying to keep people from having gardens. I looked right before I came to this meeting, and garden is mentioned 3 times in this ordinance. And nowhere in that ordinance does it say that someone in the city cannot have a garden. And there was also another rumor regarding fake plants or plastic flowers. That section of the ordinance is in regards to landscape buffers. So when people look to develop property, we require certain, or the ordinance requires certain landscape buffers. And all that section of the ordinance is saying is that the vegetation and plants in those landscape buffers can't be, they have to be natural vegetation. So the big thing that this ordinance was looking to do was to deregulate. Currently, under the 2022-03 ordinance, if someone's looking to build a duplex or a multifamily structure, an apartment, no matter what zone they're in, they have to go to the Board of Adjustments to get approved for a conditional use. We have an R1 zone, which is single family, and the R2 zone, which is, it's defined as single and multifamily structures. But developers who buy property in an R2 zone, they still have to go before the Board of Adjustments to get a special approval to construct those structures. And this ordinance would remove some of those barriers. Like I said, it just clarifies more of the policies and procedures, and it references a lot of the KRSs.
Thank you, sir.
Josh, I know the House recently passed some changes to manufactured homes and how
Correct.
to regulate them in cities. And I know that was recent. I don't think it's taken effect yet. Does this ordinance address that, or has those changes been made in here?
This ordinance, no. When I did my side-by-side comparison, that's one of the things that I noted, that some of the language does need to be changed to reflect the passage of House Bill 160, I believe it was.
That's not effective yet.
Not effective yet.
It's not effective
But
yet.
it's coming.
When changing this development ordinance and looking at fee increases, where do you all normally reach out to, because I would think that we would want to stay with comparable areas like London, say Corbin, Somerset, surrounding counties. Where did you get a lot of your fee increases from? Where did you take this from?
Some of the building permit fees have not been put into this ordinance yet. We're allowing that to be part of the discussion. We do make comparisons to, I've looked at Corbin's and Berea's and the city of Somerset. But the building code defines, the 2018 Kentucky Building Code defines what the plan review fees are. But some of the permit fees are in the 2022 ordinance are just not in line. Like there's a section there that talks about commercial and residential construction and the cost of construction. And that estimate, estimating factor is way off. And currently right now we're charging $20 for an electrical permit. So, it's, that permit passes through a couple of people and we make, so it's not even really, an electrical permit's not even really covering the cost of the employees and the stationery and stuff that we use to create those.
What would that cost be? Your best guess. What would that cost be for an electrical permit?
For an electrical permit currently?
No.
Under the new ordinance, I think we had proposed a much lower fee for residential and then a higher fee for commercial. I know some cities base it off the cost of the electrical contract, and sometimes those fees can get fairly high, but, we were looking to keep it reasonable, just, where it's actually covering the cost of issuing the permits.
If anyone from the public has any more questions, can they reach out to you?
Absolutely, anytime.
And what's your number, sir?
My office number is 606-864-4169. And my cell number is 606-260-3238.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. If there's no further discussion on that ordinance, we're going to skip down and to ordinance 2025-07. We have Todd and his wife here tonight. We want to try to get them out of here. This ordinance was for the rezoning of property. You'll see the address here. The physical address is 828 Whitley Street. Do you guys have any questions regarding this?
I looked at it. I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
If the clerk would do roll.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Next thing on the agenda was the ordinance number 2025-05, establishing bullying as a Class A misdemeanor in the city limits of London. Council have any discussion for that tonight?
I think we have some discussion and would like our attorney to address.
Yeah.
Don't ask the approach, be yelled at, so. So yes, thank you all for allowing me to ask a few questions on this. I've talked with members of the council, and they have some questions that I'll direct again to, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Bryson, whoever has the answers for it. Obviously, this is an ordinance designed to protect, people under the age of 19. One would think to protect children, which obviously is something that we can all agree upon, council, mayor, everyone. So the thing is, you're asking the council to create law. I mean, they're creating a crime. They're creating a criminal law that one would assume these issues have come before legislature. So that's a big step to ask them to consider doing something like that. That's a heavy burden for them. So a couple of the issues that they wanted me to raise, obviously, if there's a crime, if someone's charged with a crime, that's something, it's Class A misdemeanor per the ordinance, that would be prosecuted by our county attorney. So the question to you all would be, have you all collaborated with the county attorney in writing, the elements of the crime and writing the ordinance as far as prosecution of this?
So we did reach out last year when we tried to get this ordinance passed, and we talked with them. But far as, we just stayed with the statute, what the statute said could be there. And if you'll see that in section E, that the statutes are referenced. Matter of fact, there's 3 in just that one section.
So to come up with the elements for this crime, you just went in accordance with those statutes only?
No, that 83A.065 allows cities to,
right.
It didn't used to be this way, but I think within the last 10 years, the Kentucky legislature allowed the city to designate Class A misdemeanors.
Right, the 83, that's the statute
Yes.
that gives them the ability to pass this,
That's
correct?
right.
So.
The definition, the elements of bullying, that's, I look back at the school statutes that define bullying. The school statutes that define bullying are taken from the National Institute that promotes anti-bullying. And that, I learned through the history of this, came from an international definition. So this is pretty much the almost identical language that's found in the statutes that the legislature passed to define bullying.
Okay.
And just about all, if not all, of the 186 school districts have adopted this.
Right, and I guess that's kind of where I'm coming from. There is no KRS for bullying, right? There's not a criminal charge for bullying.
That's what this.
Right, this is creating that. So they'll be the ones prosecuting it, right? So that was the question, but that's been sufficiently answered. Now, there's also, and Mr. Bryson, I would probably direct this at you. There are charges for harassment and harassing communications that are very similar in statutory language to what you're trying to pass or what you're requesting the council to pass, correct?
A little more, this is a little more age specific.
Right, agreed.
Yes.
Now, last thing on that issue, have you considered the difficulty of putting, a new charge on the county attorney without their involvement, without having them to be there along the way to write the elements that are required? Because they're the ones who have to prove it. They have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. So, was that something that was considered in writing these elements?
Yeah. Short answer is no. The reason, I can give you a little bit of the background. Before we had code enforcement, we had to take all of our ordinances, all of them, for enforcement with the county attorney. And most of the time, that's not saying anything about Jody Albright. He's a good county attorney, a good prosecutor. But past county attorneys had refused to enforce city ordinances. So we created code enforcement for that purpose. The legislature became aware of that. They passed laws that allowed us to have code enforcement by a code enforcement board. The legislature, about that same time, actually, passed this statute, 83.065, that allows the city council to designate an ordinance as a crime, as a Class A. Can't be a felony, can't be any higher than a Class A, but a Class A misdemeanor. So we're looking for, and we're hopeful that the county attorney will prosecute this just as he would any other crime. Because if the council passes it,
Right.
it would be.
Yeah, and obviously this is just the discussion phase, which is why we're doing this. I mean, is that something that if they're wanting you to do, I mean, is that something you think should be done, you know, to get his position on this, to see, you know, how they intend to prosecute going forward? Secondly, I'm assuming most of the offenders, most of the people who would be in violation of this ordinance due to the age requirements, we're assuming most of these are going to be juvenile offenders.
Could be.
Well, maybe not most of them, but this is something where it's involving, has to have someone under the age of 19. So the
victim.
The victim, correct.
Yes.
Yeah, so the possibility certainly exists that there would be children on children bullying. Would you not agree with that?
Could be, yes.
And as I'm sure you're aware, youthful juvenile offenders, they're usually prosecuted through the court designated worster system.
Yes.
And I'm assuming, since you didn't talk, you know, there was no involvement with Mr. Albright, is it coming that up? I don't know if you're prepared, if you're aware. I would think that it's important to know from the CDW if they're capable or staffed to handle the additional caseload that this might bring on. A statistic that I was made aware of is we have in Laurel County, we have two court designated workers, two people who, youthful offenders, they go through, they're the ones who initially have the interaction with the alleged perpetrator. We only have two of those. Per capita in the state of Kentucky, our CDW has the second highest per worker caseload in the entire state. Only county that has a higher CDW caseload is Jefferson County. So, you know, that's something that we wanted to bring up. Had, you know, the CDW been informed, they'll have to be obviously trained on the requirements of this and discussed with, as well as, you know, there might be a conversation that needs to happen with AOC to see if they're, you know, about the possibility of a specialized worker, something of that nature. I mean, is that anything that had been broached?
No, you know, at this stage, it's still in discussion.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
And, you know, it's probably premature to ask all of these people all these questions if it doesn't pass the council. But while you're talking statistics, you know, bullying is an epidemic in this county and in Kentucky.
Oh, I don't disagree with, you know, nobody likes bullying. I don't disagree with that at all. This is only a city ordinance. Obviously, this doesn't have any effect for actions that occur in the county.
No.
So that, to me, brought a little bit of logistical issues. I was reading the ordinance. Obviously, it states that it is to be reported to us. I would assume there'll be a designated, maybe city police officer, but it has to be reported to the city police. And I guess the thing that first came to my mind, has it been considered how that'll be able to be proven? You know, when you're talking about electronic means, electronic bullying, cyberbullying, things of that nature.
Yeah, I think that's addressed to some degree in this ordinance.
I'm talking about more about the jurisdictional issues that could be posed. You know, how will we prove that this cyberbullying, if it is occurring, how is that to be proven that it's occurring in the city limits?
I think on a case-by-case basis, it occurs in person. That's always easier to deal with because you know where it occurred, when it occurred, and who it occurred between jurisdictionally.
Again, if we're dealing with youthful offenders, has there been any, again, I know we're still at the discussion phase, but this is a big step to ask them to pass this. So have there been any discussions with the schools, with the superintendent, with the SROs, with the principals? Because obviously, if this is now a crime, they have a duty to report what they see. I'll get into some of the language of the ordinance here in just a second, but they have a duty to report that. And another issue that I was thinking of, we have some schools that are in the city, some that aren't. So, for example, London Elementary will now have a different code of conduct than not a different code of conduct. Obviously, these things are probably not allowed to go on in the schools anyway, but
No.
London Elementary there'll be something that would be a violation of criminal law that could occur at London Elementary, that if the same thing occurred, might not be a violation of the law at Cold Hill, for example, just outside of the city.
All these school board policy in Laurel County includes the same definition of bullying.
But it's not a crime.
No, it's not a crime, but it is a policy. So it applies to all the schools in the district.
The behavior does, right?
Yes, that's true. We don't have jurisdiction out of the
Right.
county. I would hope the county might do this as well.
And I'm almost done. And I appreciate your answering, Mr. Bryson. I had some issues with some of the vagueness and the potential constitutional issues as well with the ordinance. And I'll start, Section B. This talks about, if you want to get to that. Section B, it talks about like the protected, the protection of the freedom of speech. So obviously in writing this, you consider that there could be some constitutional issues. It seems that when you're dealing with a criminal infraction, you have to have it defined to the point that the Commonwealth can prove it beyond a reasonable doubt. As you're aware, that's the highest burden in the law. So this isn't something that is necessarily going to be easy to prove. Section 1, it talks about repetitive without a definition. Have we given any consideration to what repetitive is?
A lot of these issues, and I appreciate your background as a criminal defense attorney, because most often, I know I did that for a while too, we challenge any statute or any ordinance, any law as being void for vagueness. So I appreciate where you're coming from, but again, the definition of this is a well-accepted definition internationally, nationally, in Kentucky, in school districts, and hopefully in this ordinance.
Right, and I don't disagree with that your definition of bullying may be accurate. What I'm talking about though is when, like you said, when you're talking about vagueness and when you take it to the level of criminality, when you start talking about people's freedom, well, that takes it to an entire different level. This isn't a $50 fine. This isn't a civil punishment. It talks about repetitive. We don't have a time frame. Obviously, it can only happen within a year because of statute of limitation requirements, but that's not referenced. Bullying is defined as physical, verbal, or psychological. A definition of psychological is lacking. There isn't, to my knowledge, a legal definition of psychological bullying in KRS. When you talk about an imbalance of power, it seems that unfortunately, just throughout life, there is an imbalance of power. You have teachers, students, boss, employee, parent, child. So some of those vague terms do raise a little bit level of concern.
Well, the imbalance of power, again, that's language that's taken from other statutes, other policies.
And I guess the question would be then, since all these other policies and things of that nature are defining bullying to this point, there's no criminal law that defines it though, right?
Not in Kentucky, no.
And
I
then-
don't know if other states, but.
Right, and then, but we're trying to create one, so you can see where not the confusion, but the hesitance, because we're trying to create something that isn't available anywhere else.
No, it is available other places in the Laurel County School District policy. This is the exact definition that's used there.
But I'm saying there's no other place where this criminal statute exists.
Not criminal in Kentucky.
And, the last thing that I raised a little bit of level of concern, because we touched on it in section B, when you talk about the constitutional guarantee to the right to free speech and the freedom of speech that we are afforded. Have you thought about any civil liability that the city could be exposing itself to if we enact a crime that is later determined to be vague, overbroad, not very well defined, and in the meantime, people's freedom have been taken. They've been, on jail tracker, on busted websites, things of that nature for being charged with this crime. Is that a concern at all, that we could be exposing the city to some civil liability?
Not to me. If it was, why did the legislature allow cities to do this?
And I guess I would pose the same question. Why hasn't the legislator created a bullying crime?
I don't know.
Good enough. Thank you all very much. I appreciate your time.
Just a few questions.
Yes, sir. Fire away.
So you raised some concerns. So these chair's understanding, though we have an epidemic.
I don't know that bullying about across the country. I don't know that it's specific to Laurel County, Kentucky, or the United States, but
Yeah.
that, yes, I can see bullying being an issue for sure.
So with your expertise in criminal defense,
That's a loose term, but
it's very valuable to us, and this is what the discussions are for, some of the concerns that you raised or the council raised. So knowing that there is an issue, some of these things that you said that the city should position itself on and to have these discussions, if we're not looking at a close, no, we're not moving forward in this, we're having discussions about this, this is our concerns, this is the time that we make those changes and start those discussions. I think that's our position, where we're coming from. Rather than calling this a first reading, it's about discussions. And again, your expertise in the criminal defense, and maybe we do need to make some changes in it. But I'd like to also point out that in the last couple of years in this community alone, not just City of London, but the community of Laurel County, there has been 6 to 7 children commit suicide. A lot of their issues. I think that, yes, there might be risk, maybe not no risk, but I think that as a government, that it's our duty to stand up with the parents that's reached out to me and my office multiple times that says that their child has been bullied and nothing's being done, that we at least show these parents or these children that we are trying to do something as a government to back them and their kids. Because I can tell you, if you took a poll here in this community alone, there's going to be so many families and children that have been impacted by this in such a way that their kids have been pulled out of school, that they don't want to no longer attend, or that they buried their child. So these are just discussions, and all the input from council through you, we really appreciate. But I think this is something we need to frame. We need to get the groundwork on and what that looks like at the end. I think it's important for this community. And, as part of leadership, sometimes you have to make decisions on everybody likes, but I think that it has to be done when you have such a burden. One child committing suicide to bullying should make anybody in government to make some kind of change. And I could be more than willing to sit down with you and you could give it to council and talk to them about it, the families that have sent messages or came to our office and talked about this very subject.
yeah, and look, I don't think anybody's going to stand up here and say, we're in support of, or nobody with any sense would say that they're in support of bullying. And I don't disagree with that. Obviously it goes on. Obviously it happens. It happens across the world. that's not, like I said, limited to us. But my concern is not with the ordinance. My concern was with, and the questions that were posed to me is with some of the application and the language. I don't disagree that this is the discussion phase, and I appreciate the opportunity to address it.
If I could, Conrad, any of these things that we've talked about that you have suggestions about, let's work together and try to put some language in. If there are problems with this ordinance in the language that's used, let's work together and correct those. If the council is generally in favor of moving forward on this, if they will let us know, then you and I work together and also have a discussion with the county attorney, the AOC if we need to, and the juvenile workers.
Yeah, I think that would be imperative, in my opinion, that the prosecutors would have to have some input in something of that. I mean, it's a big step. I mean, I agree it's a problem. Bullying's bad. I agree. But also asking them to do something, and you would know, you've done it for so long. When is the last time that a London City Council created a criminal offense?
I don't know that this law is relatively recent. So there's been nothing that has allowed us to do that.
Well, and you're right. I do enough criminal law to where I know that loose interpretation of the statute causes for people to be arrested that maybe shouldn't be. It causes for abuse of process when it's not necessary. So, I thank y'all for your time.
But I don't think there's much point in us doing any of that if the council doesn't want to move forward.
Well, and I don't know what their intentions are. I know it's the discussion phase. They asked me to discuss some of the issues that were evident to me and to them, and probably some other people in the public that have raised the issue to them. So that's why I'm here. Thank y'all.
Are you going to be speaking about the other ordinance too? Okay. I just didn't want you to get back on your seat. So council, on this, do you want to take your concerns that he has and let the lawyers discuss this further?
Fine with me.
Mr. Mayor,
I'm discussing.
I move to postpone ordinance 2025-05 into our July meeting, which is July 7th.
I'll second that.
Bench.
Yes.
Mr. Ortega.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
One question, June or July?
July.
Okay, yes.
If I could ask just a little clarification, do you all want Mr. Sesson and I to work together on any of this before then?
Yes, that's fine. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you, council. We're going to move to the next ordinance that we have, ordinance number 2025-06. Again, this is for review and discussion. Is there any review or any questions on this or any discussion that your council may have?
I move to table this till a later date.
What date would council like to table this to?
Same meeting, July.
I'll second.
Mr. Young.
Yes.
Mr. Bench.
Yes.
Mr. Ortega.
Yes.
Ms. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
everything was sent to you guys. Sherry had sent out a budget worksheet. We would like to thank Justin and Stacy for coming in and talking to the department heads and stuff. But there is, tonight we have, again, some of the information regarding the budget. And then we put a budget review in your packet, kind of breaking it down. And on the back side, you'll see we did a graph showing you the revenue sources and expenditures. So is there any discussion that you guys may have on the budget? There's nothing on the budget. We'll move on. The next thing we have is Resolution 2025-02. This is Homeland Security Grant. This would be for repeaters, installing 2 new repeaters. We're just looking for a motion to, for me to sign and adopt this resolution.
Move to approve.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Let me go backwards for a second, Mayor, if you don't mind. Just one question.
Yeah.
On the budget, did you make any changes since we met last week?
No, we have.
Okay. You plan on, okay. You planning on redefining the line under the council's expenses that we talked about in the meeting?
Yeah, we're going to. We just didn't want to do any changes until we had the public meeting.
I think right now we call it professional fees is what we're going to change. You know what you're going to change it to?
That's something we was going to discuss with you guys.
That's the line item that the attorney's paid out of on both sides on either end. Okay. I guess we can talk about it later.
Do you have any suggestions that you're wanting to do?
I wasn't sure. I was hoping you'd come up with something. I mean, I thought professional fees was fine to start with, but I mean, the KLC thought it was, get to say something different, but I don't know. I'm fine with leaving it like it is as long as you're fine with their salaries coming out of that. If you're okay with that.
Yeah, I mean, or we can rename it if you want to get up with me.
I just don't want to get into, okay.
And
We'll get in a situation 2 months from now, 3 months from now, we say, well, we don't have an account or line item for the council attorney or the other attorney. If you're okay with this being that way, maybe we can, but maybe we could put a slash attorneys out from professional fees. Would that be okay? Professional fees / attorney?
Yeah, are you talking about under the council section or the attorney? So there's some of that professional fees too. We had spoke to you about the audit comes out of that well, so it's just not attorneys.
That's fine. And
The attorney fee section of the budget, if you turn to the second page, it has professional fees of $125,000.
Yeah.
Update the ordinance for $15,000, office $3,500.
Right.
In the amount of $143,500.
Yeah. Fine. We could, let's work on that and break that down. That's something I'd like to change.
Okay.
Just so you're
come up and
10:30 to come by, we'll
Yeah.
come up with something. Is that all right with you all?
Yes.
Okay.
okay. So we've got a second.
I'll second the resolution.
Resolution passes. Next thing on the agenda is ethics board appointments. You guys
I think
have.
we've got another
We got the
resolution
resolution
for the
03.
boom
Oh,
trace.
yeah. I'm sorry. I'm skipping the tourism. They won't be happy.
That's my fault.
We have the resolution for the tourism project that they have, Boom Trace Trail Improvement. I just need a second to accept this resolution and approve for me to sign.
Move to approve.
Second?
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Okay, next thing is the Ethics Board appointments. You'll see that we sent that to you. The letters are in your packet as well. What is council's pleasure on this?
On which one?
Just, you got any discussion that you want to talk about it, or?
Nobody ever wants to talk
Well,
about
two of them
ethics.
Two of the names I didn't see till tonight. I think one was from a previous one.
Crickets.
I mean, on the two we got tonight, the two new ones that were added, I guess you know those two. I'd like to at least wait till next month and talk to those people. Maybe just get a little background. I'm not familiar with one of the names. One, I think I know who it is, pretty sure. I think it's a friend, so a motion to table that to May meeting.
I second that.
To June. We're in May.
June meeting.
May, my bad. I'm still in April. It says April on the letter here.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Bench?
And that's on the two new ones for tonight.
That's on all three.
You've got an
I just
old
made a
one.
motion on the two, but, okay.
You want to do all three or
He's the
amend your motion?
city council's.
You'll need to add all three, or you'll have to take action on the third one.
This one is from the previous that was presented last month,
That's correct.
Gibson. Okay, on this, I'll move to take a vote on that. On
I
Gibson.
know. It's about making me cry.
What is your vote? What is it?
It's roll call.
That's what he's doing. He's making a motion on Gibson, he said.
Are we tabling the two or doing? all
Yeah,
three?
motion to table the two new ones.
Well, I said.
Which roll, needs to do a
Yes,
roll
for
call,
just
what she's saying.
Mr. Bench.
No,
This table and the.
Tabling it.
we're tabling Mr.
We gotta
Wright
take this vote.
and Markey.
You're in the
Okay.
middle of a roll call for tabling the two.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be clear, that was the motion just to table the two new ones for tonight.
Yes.
Okay, I want to table those, yes.
Mr. Ortega?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
Now on the third one,
Third one, I made a motion to take a vote on Gibson.
To approve.
to approve or
Just a motion to vote, motion to approve, whatever.
second,
Second.
roll call.
Mr. Young?
No.
Mr. Bench?
No,
Mr. Ortega?
No.
Ms. Green?
No.
Mr. Weaver?
No.
But he seems to be representing them in everything.
Okay,
Field, the one that's over time or the past 60 days.
it's not past the 60 days. We had to bring it before, we brought it before you last month. We appointed the person in enough time. You guys didn't make any motions on it, so it tabled the matter until this meeting. Tonight, you took action. So we'll just have to go from there. It's basically going to be starting over to refill that seat. Right now, there is one person on the ethics board, so we do not have an ethics board. And according to state statute, we are supposed to have an ethics board.
So the 60 days starts over.
We ain't got one either,
That is correct.
but we're supposed to have one.
So just to help me clarify this,
Who'd be on
when a
it?
position comes open with the
I want to
ethics
be
board,
on it.
the executive branch has 60 days to fill it,
I have 60 days to appoint
to
somebody.
appoint someone by approval of the council. If the council says no and votes no, you get another 60 days?
Yes, because I did appoint somebody. I have 60 days to appoint, and if I do not appoint in 60 days, my time expires, and then they can appoint.
Okay.
I did appoint within the 60-day time frame, so therefore you guys didn't confirm, so now I have to find another subject.
Gotcha. Understood. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Could I just make one comment on that?
Yes,
Just what I read of the ordinance of the Board of Ethics, it says vacancies on the Board of Ethics shall be filled within 60 days by the mayor, subject to the approval of the city council. If the vacancy is not filled by the mayor within 60 days, the remaining members of the Board of Ethics shall fill the vacancy. I read that as you have to fill it within 60 days, and then they have to approve it. And then if that doesn't occur, that it's filled by the Board of Ethics, the
No,
remaining members.
you're adding language to that, Conrad, the second part, because the mayor's obligation is to fill the vacancy within 60 days. He did that. The council, until tonight, did not approve it. The vacancy that the remaining board member would fill, the mayor makes the appointment, goes through the same process. The second part does not include the council.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is then, he keeps nominating, if they keep voting it down, it's just a never-ending roller coaster?
Until there's some cooperation, yes.
Then why does the ordinance even include the language? If the vacancy is not filled by the mayor within 60 days, the remaining members of the Board of Ethics shall fill the vacancy. Why is that language even in the ordinance?
That's the language that's in the ordinance that the council approved.
I understand that. And so the reading of the ordinance, I mean, just the plain language reading says that he shall fill within 60 days, subject to their approval.
Yes.
If the vacancy is not filled by the mayor within 60 days, the remaining members of the Board of Ethics shall fill the vacancy.
The vacancy was filled by the mayor within the 60 days. The council did not approve it.
Well, what makes this guy,
Yes, we have differing opinions of the
I know,
term filled, but okay.
what makes his
I
right?
mean, I can just go by the language in the ordinance.
That's what I was trying to do.
They're both
And
lawyers.
for the public, that is ordinance 2023-10.
That's why
Section
this
5.
is all crazy.
I guess, Conrad, for a little bit more clarification, I filled the position, just as the ordinance stated so. Council did not confirm that individual, and the language is, you're right, it is quite plain. I filled the position, council did not approve that. So when they did not approve, it allows me, again, if you read that ordinance, it says at the end that if the mayor does not fill the position, well, I did. And because it doesn't say, well, if council don't confirm, it just says if the mayor didn't fill, I did fill the position. They
So
didn't
if
confirm.
you had just not brought anybody to them within 60 days,
That is correct.
gotcha. All right.
Thank you. Next thing on the agenda, I think Council Lady Kelly Green had the fire department discussion on here.
Yes. And Donnie, if you want to come up here and answer any questions I might have, but all of these are coming from concerned citizens, so I made notes and I'm going to be reading them. So I'll kind of throw it out there to you. You can answer if you'd like, and then I'll come back and make another statement. It looks like that we have spent $50,000 on medical supplies and equipment and application fees for a certificate of need for an ambulance service that is not part of your day-to-day decision-making, and this council did not approve. You have hired independent counsel to defend your application, and this council did not approve. You decided that the fire department needed to go on every ambulance call with no regard to the traffic issues you were creating and the increase in gas, maintenance, and the labor dollars that you are spending. The fire department, to me, that's a waste of tax dollars. City entities should not engage in expending taxpayer dollars to run small nonprofit organizations out of business. The City of London currently enjoys an ambulance, which we paid no subsidies. We do not need, nor do we have the money to start an ambulance service. Ambulance Inc. has been in business here in London for 48 years, and I believe that they probably never asked the city for a dime of that. You're now a union shop, and you are adding duties to union members, and you have not provided any collective bargaining agreement to this council. You even have a local union number that has been assigned to you, 5534. Do you want to answer to any of this, or I can go on?
Yeah, we would like to answer. So where do you want to start?
Any of that I read, I'd like an
Okay,
explanation to.
The city's position is not to put anybody out of business. We did not file for an ambulance service, Council Lady. We filed for critical care services, allowing the fire department to go on these calls. Now, to give you a little history, there was a mutual aid agreement that had been around before I had ever come into office. And the city fire department was actually going on every call with the fire trucks and everything when we came into office. And I asked at the beginning of our term, why are we doing that? And it was for assist-a-lifts, what we were told. What I would like to ask the council lady was, has council done its due diligence, checked CADs, checked documentations or of any facts or matters into this at all? It sounds like you've got numbers of this and statements of that one and quotes, but have you reached out to the dispatch center to check CADs or find out any reasoning why the fire department feels that it's imperative for them to arrive on scene first or try to assist? This has never been a separation. The fire department is trying to assist the ambulance service. We cannot haul patients. This was just trying to be more of a collaborative effort, giving a better service to the citizens of London. But I'd like to ask council, have you checked any of the numbers or response times of the fire department or the ambulance services on any of the calls in the last 2 years?
No, to be honest, I haven't. And the last couple of years, we have not been able to really speak to our department heads. They've been told not to speak to us, not to give any information. So I am the only problem.
The dispatch center is not a city department. It's part of a city-county collaborative effort there as well. Again, I ask, have you checked the numbers of the CADs or any information, or have citizens in the city have told you of any concerns of why, again, that the city is only trying to collaborate with the ambulance service, we're not looking to transport patients. This is all about them responding, being able to go out and give first aid and critical care until an ambulance service gets there.
Why do we need a certificate of need, sir?
This certificate of need will allow them to operate giving critical care and allowing the fire department, let's say you give, you have someone that's having a stroke, they can administer medicine until the ambulance service gets there to transport that patient to the hospital. And not only that, but it's allowing them to get the patient ready. And it's when the ambulance service does arrive, that they can get that patient to the hospital without having to do all the pre-work and checks. The fire department will already have that done. So it's giving them a better response time to the hospitals. This is about a united effort between the city fire department, the hospital, and the ambulance service, the healthcare as itself network in the city. And again, this is not about trying to affect or impact anybody. It's about working together and then ultimately providing critical care to the people that voted you in. That if you're having a heart attack or a stroke, I suggest that you look at the response times to the ambulance service and then our city fire department. When you're having a heart attack, it's moments. When you have a stroke, you have what they call the golden hour. So these things matter. It's only trying to provide a service.
Mr. Mayor, has the hospital made any report saying that the ambulance services is lacking?
I think that there is a spreadsheet of things that are between the two given to us, showing that there is a need.
Councilman Jennings has also seen our guys in work with the Lucas device, saving the guy's life at a restaurant. He's seen it firsthand.
I don't want this to become political because it seems like it has, guys. This is only about our guys that love this community trying to respond. And why is the certificate of need now? Because of them wanting to do this, the mutual aid agreement, Donnie, was it not? They're saying it's not in effect, so therefore we have to have it. And God forbid that any of our family members, your family members that need this, when the fire department are responding within minutes, 2 minutes, matter of fact, is the average time that they arrive on scene. This is just about providing a service, not someone trying to affect anybody. But I suggest, council, before you take words from me or anybody else, that you guys investigate with the dispatch center and listen to radio calls, CADs, look at all the information and see if you think at that point that this is needed.
What will this do to increase their budget this year?
They were looking at this point to, as far as the supply goes, that will be a cost to the city. But we're talking, 40 or 50,000 to save a life. I think that I'd hate to even try to say that it's not worth it. Even if we spent $100,000 to save one of our citizens, it's worth it.
How much have we spent to date?
Donnie, do you know exactly? I think we might be, let me get that number exact for you, Judd. I'm not sure.
Okay.
How many people would we have to hire once they're?
We don't have to hire anybody for this. It's our guys are already doing it. They've already been responding before us, Kelly. Before I come into the office, again, they were going on these calls.
Oh, I know they were going on the calls and they were doing work. They was doing good work. I'm just more concerned about getting out of our line.
If you look at the application, which is in your packet, it speaks for itself. This is a need. And again, it's a collaborative effort just trying to improve and expound upon the medical services that we have, in which we appreciate all first responders in the city, including the ones that you referenced. This is about providing a service to our citizens. And the application's in your packet. And I think that if you, again, will do your due diligence and check with the CAD, listen to the radio calls on certain calls, and you look, there's other information that we could provide that you will see that this is a need.
You had mentioned the mutual aid agreement, and is that still intact?
We did not expire the mutual aid agreement, but it was, I think that it's under the interpretation from the other side that it may be.
Was it, did you cancel that on January the 13th?
No, we did not cancel it.
I just noticed this application is dated January 15th due to a stamp on it. I just didn't know.
That's when it's received at the Office of Inspector General.
Okay. Well, I guess you all drafted it before that. I would think something like that, we should talk about that then, but there was no discussion of that that I'm aware of.
For what the fire department providing a service?
Well, something new than what they're doing, but I guess they're doing the same thing, I guess, but they're
I think
wanting.
it'd be courteous for us to know. We should have known this during its inception. That's my opinion. Excuse me?
Just now that they've shut us down from their medical director, we have to proceed in moving forward with our medical director so we can continue.
Well, how much does the medical director cost and insurance? How much does that cost?
I'm not sure.
Well, we should know these things going into this. Going into any business, you got to know the cost.
Do we have to carry malpractice insurance?
Again, this is something that will be in the budget. The talks in that time, again, the certificate of need, this is about the citizens. This ain't about you, me, or anybody else. But if it comes down to saving a life, that's what the fire department's wanting to do. They're not wanting to impede on anybody else. Rather work with these individuals. You're looking at 2-minute response time. They arrive on scene. They give that critical care, that medicine until the ambulance service can arrive, and then they transport them to the hospital. I don't see the downfall to that.
Are you, Mr. Mayor, are you saying that the ambulance service of Laurel County is not doing?
I'm not making any claims on this in this council meeting about anything. What I said is the application will stand for itself. We filed a certificate of need, so obviously we feel, and if you do your due diligence like I asked, you'll see the why we filed for this application need. I'm not here to blast anybody or any business.
We will not be the seal and approve if it's not. I can look at that. Every one of y'all come back to the station and sit around for a while and ask questions.
My understanding, and you correct me, Chief, if I misstate this, but the cabinet did grant a license, but the ambulance service objected to that. So we are scheduled, we've already had one pre-hearing conference regarding the certificate of need. And we'll probably have to go forward with that because the ambulance service has protested that. And I am not at liberty, because that is a form of litigation, to discuss that at a public meeting.
They sure lay on them
I guess we're not
tables.
going to have to have any more staff to do this. We'd have to buy more materials for
Yeah,
life-saving stuff. So we're not buying any ambulance.
No,
We're just
no.
providing care with their normal trucks.
Class 6 license, and it's a non-transport. So
Yeah.
all it
Okay.
is medical attention until the ambulance service gets started.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It's just to serve that critical need before the ambulance service arrives.
And you'll find that information when you get to dispatch and find their records to see why.
Is there any other questions regarding that, Council Lady Green?
No, thank you.
You said that you had other things you wanted to say as
No,
well?
I think we answered them.
Okay. Also in your,
I do have one question.
okay,
How do we administer prescription drugs in this process? Are we doing that now?
No,
no,
Have we ever done that?
through the medical director, then yes.
And who was that medical director?
I have to look back on that. It's the ambulance services medical director.
So right now, we don't have a medical director.
Right, because they say that we don't have a mutual aid agreement, so now we have no medical director. That's the reason we're moving forward to get that.
Okay.
Right now, we're running first response without medical, and without doing any medicine at all. We have qualified people there to administer medicine, but they're not allowed to at this point.
What did we administer before?
If you all would have answered your emails today and let me prepare for this just a little bit more, I could have had some more answers. I had one of you all answer the email out of all 5 of them. So at this point, I mean, if I could have some time to elaborate on your questions and know the questions before I get here, I'd be glad to answer.
Sure, and you say we're welcome to come to the fire department?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I've encouraged every one of you.
Thank you, Donnie.
any other questions? Okay,
I answered.
next thing we have, you find in your packets, we have a couple different resignations. The Chief of Police, Jerry Holland, has resigned. Also, we got Acting Chief Bobby Day here, and Bobby, if you'll come up. That letter from Jerry's in your packet.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here to give you my name's Bobby Day. I'm the acting chief of police, London Police Department. I'll be giving you an update on the Van Zant Road shooting investigation. According to my updates from the Kentucky State Police, a thorough and detailed investigation has been underway since the incident. This has included numerous interviews, the submission of physical evidence for forensic testing, and consultation with the medical examiner. At this stage, much of that work has been completed. Currently, the investigators are carefully reviewing all test results, forensic findings, and the finalized autopsy report alongside the full body of facts gathered. This also includes hours of recorded interviews that must be reviewed, transcribed, and properly memorialized within the investigative report. It's important to understand that while we recognize the community's desire for answers, the timeliness of the results is second to the completeness and the accuracy of this investigation. The ultimate goal is an investigation that is clear, thorough, and fully representative of the facts. This is precisely why the Kentucky State Police, an agency independent of the London Police Department, was tasked with handling this investigation by our agency. Their role is to conduct a fair, impartial, and professional review of all the circumstances involved. Once this review is complete, the findings will be submitted to the appropriate prosecuting attorney, and if deemed warranted, the matter will then be presented to a grand jury for review and consideration. We remain committed to seeing this process through with the seriousness, fairness, and objectivity that it demands. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Bobby. The next thing that you have in your packet is from City Clerk Katie. She's got her resignation in as well. This Friday will be her last day as the city clerk. And Katie, we're all going to miss you. You've been fantastic. The next thing you found in your packets was from Councilperson Holly Little. You'll see that she had resigned officially 5/2. So it will be official after this meeting, or do they need to accept it or anything? We don't have to accept it. It will be valid after this meeting if that's what you want to do.
That's what you want to do.
No, the statute, I mean, you can if you want to, but the statute says that it's effective on the date of either a regular or a special call meeting.
That's correct.
So
So go ahead and move to accept it.
Judge second.
Mr. Young,
Yes.
Mr. Bench,
Yes.
Mr. Ortega,
Yes.
Ms. Green,
Yes.
Mr. Weaver.
Yes.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Let me ask you a question about the budget. Real quick, we can go back to that. I was so confused. The reason I think the format of the one that was in the packet, that might just be missing a section. If there wasn't when we had our budget meeting, there was still the traditional, it looked just like last year's had the council section, fire department section, and police. And I didn't see it in this one, so maybe it just didn't print. And that's probably why I was getting confused on the line I didn't see. There's no council section in this one that was in the packet. I'm sure that's probably just a printer error or something, but if not, I guess the reason I brought that up is this going to be the format that we're going to be going
This is
with.
the format of the ordinance, but I'll double check it tomorrow and I'll send you a digital copy.
Okay, there was a street department,
No,
sanitation,
council's, no, that's the budget training.
but on this and IT, but there's no police and fire and council. It's missing.
It may have gotten.
At least in the one I got. That's probably why I was getting confused on the numbers when I was trying to.
But you
It
do
wasn't-
have
it wasn't in there to
the
read.
work packet that we sent, the worksheet, Sherry sent out.
I have that here, and that's why I said it was different.
Okay.
The totals are the same, but the numbers aren't in there. So this is not the intent to change the format. It's just
No, we're not
pages
changing
are
it.
missing.
Yeah.
Format's going to be almost the same
It'll be the same.
with a couple of lines will be moved.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
We kind of went through section F a little fast. I do have a question for the city attorney. When it comes to the email that you sent on May 2nd, assigning Jerry Holland, Ashley Taylor as interim police chief and acting police chief and acting city clerk, how I understand KRS 83A.0803, that needs to be approved by the council.
Oh, well, you asking me?
Yes, sir.
Oh, no, the acting does not. And I would assume the mayor has intentions of probably posting, I'm not sure, the position, but we have to have someone in the position of an acting city clerk to provide information and receive. Lately, there's been a very large volume, for example, of open records requested. That's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. But those have to go to a city clerk, the city clerk. So the use of the language, I'm telling you more than you want to know, there is a difference between an interim and acting.
So what you're saying is that they could provide, they can do the roles as acting police chief and acting city clerk,
Yes.
not interim. So
Interim,
KRS 83A.080 section 3 says interim or acting non-elected officers who are temporarily filling a vacancy.
Yeah.
Need to be approved by the city council.
The interim position is usually one that is by a written contract. That's the distinction that I'm making.
I guess I'm just a little confused here. Am I confused? Am I saying this correctly?
What was the question?
83A.080 section 3.
Mr. Bryson, I guess Ms. Taylor and Mr. Day, they are not interim, is that right?
That's right.
They're acting, right?
Yes.
And then, just so everyone knows, there is a distinction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we checked with KLC.
And I think that's some of the confusion is the difference. And maybe they've heard the term interim, but just there is a difference in acting and interim.
Yes.
Right.
I just wanted to,
I agree with that.
just to be sure.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, this is the motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Let's hang on. I think I need to address this before we leave. You put in the packet the update on the Van Zant Road?
Yes, correct.
Is this verbatim what the chief read to us?
That is verbatim.
Okay, so someone else could read this. It's this one sheet of paper, I guess.
I mean, it's in your council packet. I'm not going to tell you.
I know we've been admonished to keep everything,
Mhm.
and this is not part of that. I guess we'll make sure. Just make sure.
You got a motion on the floor to adjourn?
About what we
Second.
Second.
Mr. Young?
Yes.
Mr. Benj?
Yes.
Mr. Ortega?
Yes.
Ms. Green?
Yes.
Mr. Weaver?
Yes.
All right. So that was entertaining. We got all the way to the very end of it to hear the resignations. So it seems like that young girl with the dark hair that was sitting next to the mayor was sitting there with the buzz haircut or high and tight, whatever it was. The mayor was sitting next to the old man that was the attorney that was doing all the talking. I'm not as familiar with this bunch as I am our own here. I've just started watching them since the weed eater situation. And throughout me digging around for trying to follow the money type stuff, we found out that Mayor Weddle there is a very, very wealthy man. His family is wealthy, and they own a big business, or maybe several, I don't know, but they're all wealthy. And he got caught giving way more money than what he was supposed to Andy Bashir. And not just Bashir. He was giving money to anybody and everybody. It didn't really matter what party they belonged to. And that's something that I've really noticed recently, is that it doesn't really matter what party people are in. Used to, it seems like money stuck with their party. But now people are donating money to both parties. That's what we saw ARC. The rehab people, the ones that are under investigation for Medicaid fraud. They also gave a whole lot of money to both parties. So they're not just blue and they're not just red. They're giving money to whoever's in that office. Why do you think they give them all that money? Well, to me, it just says that they're paying to grease the wheels for themselves. So if they ever get in, I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating, of course, but that's just that's what it looks like to me. And then they keep that money going round and round and round. I found the donors list for one of our locals, Angie Hatton, one of our state representatives. So I have a whole bunch of those documents for campaign document stuff, where I found her donor list, and it was other local people that were running for office around here. I mean, and of course, many other sources. But it was just, I don't know why. It wasn't really surprising to see whose names were on there, because I figured that's who'd be on there. We're going to look at that stuff one of these days. I'm just stacking, y'all. I'm stacking documents all over the place. We're going to have one heck of a book. We're going to have one heck of a book. It's going to be good. It's going to be good. And a couple of our viewers gave me a couple good suggestions for our merch. So we finally got our merch, our shop up, our online store. You can go on there. I'm adding stuff every day. So you can go on there and find you something, Hillbilly Crime. Wear your Hillbilly Crime t-shirt to court. That's going to be great, ain't it? Put on your Hillbilly Crime slides and take them to the ball game. Wear your Hillbilly Crime hoodie, your hat. Oh, we got all kinds of stuff. And if you have anything that you would like to send me, hillbillycrime@gmail.com. Nobody else ever sees any of my communications, okay? I'm a one-man worker. I do the job of the whole team. So send me an email. Sometimes my email gets a little bit on the back burner because I am filling so many roles. So it might take me a few days to get back to you, but you can reach me through my email. You can reach me through Messenger on our Facebook. You can get us on X. You can get us on TikTok. I don't get on TikTok a whole lot. But reach out to me if you've got anything you want to tell me. Number one rule is confidentiality and anonymity. Okay. So if you fear retaliation, if you fear anything like that, it's okay. Don't worry about it. We'll tell you a story. I would like to do some like in-person interviews. We can either bring people on, like Mommy comes on the show, or we could do it in person. Now, if you want to stay anonymous, we can just point the camera down at your feet if you'd like to, or we can keep the camera on me. We don't have to show who you are, but if you would like to do that, we can do that. We've got any options available to us that we want to try. So, reach out to me. We'll talk about it and see what we want to do. Let's see. What else do we want to say? Thank you. Live life. You only get one. Bless you, honey. Bless you. It's good to see you. Miss Crystal, as always. I appreciate you. Bless you. Let's see. Everybody was kind of a little bit confused too on this city council meeting. But so the clerk, the little young girl, resigned, and then the older lady, she resigned. So you've got two of them, and then the chief of police also resigned. I was happy to see the new acting chief give an update on that case. That's the first time I've heard anything, so that was exciting. It seems like they're going to send it to a grand jury. So, that's something else, though, that I wonder. How do they pick the jury pool for grand jurors or jurors? Like, I'm pretty sure it's our circuit court clerk's office who does that, right? How do they choose who they send a letter to saying you've been chosen for jury duty? Does anybody know the answer to that? How does the clerk's office choose who they send letters to in the mail saying vet girl W bus, RW bus, voter registration roster? I don't know what that is. A voter registration roster. Just saw a Louisville cop got fired for sending a big pic to another officer. Listen, they're not supposed to be doing that stuff. That's what I've been so outraged around here about around here. All of these big rolled men that are doing this. I think it's wrong. I think it's very unethical. I think it's the epitome of official misconduct. If you are an elected official, or if you are an officer of the court, in my opinion, this should not. But like, if they find that you're doing this, sending pics like that, and you're either an elected official or an officer of the court in some way, shape, or form, whether that be a lawyer, whether that be a judge, whether that be a prosecutor or defense. Now, this is just my opinion. But I don't think magistrate, judge, executive, any, I think you need to be keeping your zipper up. I don't think you should be sending no pictures like that to nobody. Nobody. I mean, if you want to do that with your spouse, that's fine. Perfectly fine. Everybody's going to have a personal life. Everybody deserves a personal life, no matter what position, job you have. But there's a reason why law enforcement are supposedly held to a higher standard. There's a reason why there is such a thing called the appearance of impropriety, and why they are supposed to stay away from it. Why they're supposed to abide by a code of conduct. How many of these counties are supposed to have ethics boards? Well, Letcher County's also supposed to have one, but they don't have one. Jenkins, when we went down there to that city council meeting over the dog getting pew-pewed, my neighbors, they don't have one either. They're supposed to, but they don't have one. I want to serve on that. I want to be on that ethics board. Who are they going to put on there? What kind of qualifications do they need to have? I got a master's degree. In justice, policy, and leadership. They said I was qualified. They gave me a big old piece of paper. Said I was qualified and that I exceeded expectations according to my competency score. I'd be a great one to serve on an ethics board, don't you think? They wouldn't let me through the front door for whatever reason. No, I wouldn't want to be on it, Trailgazer. I really wouldn't, because look at who you're met. Look who you're overseeing. Could you imagine trying to fight against the systemic misconduct? I mean, this is a culture. It's an entire culture. All those people that were talking like that with Mickey and Ben, they're still working down there. I guarantee you. There was never any kind of reprimand. Even once it came out, I bet you it was never talked about. Which we're speculating, of course, but still. No way. I thought for sure somebody would have had to have come out eventually and been like, look, we don't go for any of this kind of stuff. You know, what's being talked about, what's coming out in these accusations. Well, Ben pled guilty. He pled guilty. So it should have been addressed. At least I think it should have been. But they're not going to address it because they give his wife a big promotion and put her right up there in the courtroom. So, of course, they're not going to say anything about it. They can't. Without looking like a... I don't even know. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely crazy. All right, y'all. We'll go ahead and end this one tonight. We will see you in the morning for, I think, day 10 of Karen Reed. It's getting good. It is getting good. I don't know how we have gotten to this point with Karen Reed. And how many blinded people that are willing to just send an innocent person to prison for the rest of their lives. Like, nobody's even thinking about that or talking about that. That's awful. But all right, so we'll see you tomorrow morning for that. And then tomorrow evening, I do have one interview. We're going to re-interview our friend, the little girl that I did the interview with a couple weeks ago over her custody case. We're going to redo that interview and just not say any names. So we're going to be talking about custody battles in Appalachia and how unfair a lot of parents get treated. It seems whoever's got the most money to hire the most popular attorney, I guess. Which attorney's got the better relationship with the judge? You think that happens around here? I think it happens all the time. All the time. All right, guys. Oh, well, let's pray. Lord, thank you again for another day, being able to come together in your name, Lord, and lift you up. We thank you for everything that you do for us, Lord. We thank you for all the blessings that you give us. A lot of times hardships fall on us, Lord, and it's so easy to get focused on those negative things. But I pray, Lord, that you help us to see the positive. Help us to count our blessings each and every day. I pray that you touch each of us. Those of us that need a financial blessing, Lord, I pray that you touch us abundantly. Those of us who need a touch from you for a physical healing, I pray, Lord, let us just touch the hem of your garment. All you have to do is speak the word. The Bible says that all you have to do is speak the word only, and we shall be healed, Lord. I believe in your awesome power. I believe in your mercy. I believe in your grace, Lord. Help us to receive all the blessings that you have to give us. I pray that you soften the hearts of the lost, the hardened hearts, Lord. I pray that you soften them and that you touch them, that you lead them to you. Just go with us, Lord, and help us to come again tomorrow. And we love you, Lord. I pray that you forgive me for my sins. And I thank you for dying on that cross for me, Lord. I thank you for loving me, Jesus. In Jesus' precious name, in Jesus' precious name. Amen. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. All right, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Bye. Peace out, Girl Scout.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You can't hide from hillbilly crime.
You may not know that there's a crew in town. The head hillbillies are making their rounds. Small town whispers loud and clear. The sheriff shot the judge in his chambers chair.
Sheriff got a secret he won't keep. Judge shot dead in his disbelief. A lot of people have some stories to tell. Dark pass away, get the sound of a shotgun shell.
All the secrets spill on down. Voices loud in this old town. From the courthouse to the ground. Rumors fly and they can't be bound.
Neighbors hide behind their blinds. Whisper tales of troubled minds. Skeletons covering the mountainside. A treacherous reality in the pines.
Winter reveals the hidden lies. Moonlight couldn't mask the cries. Shadows caught in sunlit skies. There's no cover, no disguise. On the